I just thought a fantastic performance, and I really enjoyed the movie. I was just wondering, is it quite a tough balance when you're wanting to be angry and powerful and full of energy, and yet approach a character with sensitivity and to be very delicate about the subject matter? Because obviously those two things almost are at odds with each other. All of those sort of complexities and challenges, what appeal to you as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, yes, all it appealed to me is a challenge that I was willing to take on. But was it difficult and trying? Yes, it was, because you're, like you said, the subject matter is already tough as it is, and we've kind of been fatigued by the Black American slave narrative, because it's kind of told often in the same point of view, and the characters can sometimes get a bit redundant. Either they are too victimized, or they are kind of not realistically strong. And so I think for me with Alice was the opportunity to waver that balance and to show strength in multiple ways, and also show resilience in multiple ways, and yet still kind of show this sensitivity and this softness to the character as well, because she exists there too.
When you have a sort of revenge type tale like this, but that sort of gives the power to the persecutor, can it be quite an empowering, almost cathartic experience playing a role like this?
Yes, I do. I do think so. For me, at least, it was to put myself in my ancestors' shoes and try to live the experience that, some of them have experienced. It was very emotional, but then at the same time, it just gave me more of a reason to keep going and a reason to be happy, and to live for them, because through my freedom is their freedom.
Well, when you're starring in a film like this, what's the dynamic like on set with the actor playing the slave owner? So in this case, Johnny Lee Miller, sorry, because I know it's a movie, I know it's all acting and good acting at that, but can some distance be quite helpful when it comes to shooting those scenes? Because I mean, the hatred is unfathomable between the characters. So I just wondered how you kind of approach it away from the set. If you guys sort of get on, if you like to just keep a little bit of distance.
I think we didn't overly try to keep any particular distance. I do think probably naturally there was some feeling of distance, just because of what, I'm not a method actor, and I don't really remember Johnny being either. But there was just like a level of it for us that we were just like, okay, you know what, like, we're getting ready to do a dramatic scene. And so just for our own kind of emotional safety, it was just like, getting ready. But we were very much so supportive of one another and making sure that we were comfortable during this process. Or I should say Johnny was definitely, towards me, because his character was so often in the domineering, obviously, position. But what's so interesting about this dynamic is that, the kind of master that Johnny played is different than the kind of master we often see, because he didn't just exist in this kind of like, I'm evil and I just hate Blacks. It was more so like, this is a tradition and I'm doing God's work, and this is how the world's supposed to go. And this is, in order to maintain us as a superior race, this is what has to be done. And this is what, this is what I'm owed. I think seeing that expression of a slave master is really important, because I think most of them probably existed in this space. And I think it is a good representation of why racism is so alive still today. It's because many people regard it or revere it as a tradition, as opposed to an atrocity, and the propaganda of what that mentality, dismantling that mentality, could really do.
Just very fine. I mean, you've obviously had a really great, wonderful career to date, but 2022 with Alice and Nope and Lightyear, it feels like a really great year for you. Do you get a sense of that? Does it feel like quite an exciting time for you in your career?
Yeah, I think having, all these great projects coming out and then all kind of toppling on top of each other is really a divine experience. So I'm just grateful to God, for that kind of cool moment. I think a moment like this, it only can happen, the first time, one time. So to experience this for the first time is quite amazing, and I'm just along for the ride.
Brilliant. Well, I can't wait to see all the projects to come. Thank you so much for your time today. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!